I'm going to upgrade the floor lights on the, these are floor well lamps is what they're technically called, on a 2021 Dodge Ram Laramie. We're going to get rid of the factory small lights and put some LED lights in here. I know it's daylight and I got the light on, but if you own one of these vehicles, you know there's hardly any light coming off the lights at all. I'm going to install these rock lights is the brand name, or the name on the box at least. I'll put a link in the description below. It looks like AMPPER, maybe the actual company name. But I got them on Amazon. They're about 25 bucks. You get 4 in a box. These are actually left over from another vehicle I did, so they're red. The truck is blue, so I ordered some blue ones, but just to get them prepped and just to show you how to do it, I'm going to put the red ones in because it's pretty easy to do. It looks like there's different colors: blue, red, amber, white, and green. These are indoor or outdoor rated, so you could put these under the vehicle, under the hood, under the wheel wells, or wherever you want. I'm not sure about how far back this goes. I think it goes back to at least 2019, maybe 2018 on the Rams. I've already pulled this down because these are a pain in the butt to get out the first time you pull them out. But as you can see here, there's like little burrs. These are just push-in inserts that pop up in here. You'll need something like a body tool. You can do it with a flathead screwdriver, but if you've got something like this, it's a little bit better. What you do is you hook it from the outside, and I pull straight down on these to get them out. Again, you got to pull hard because these little burrs have not been pulled out yet, so they're pretty tight the first time you do it. Like I said, with the camera, there's not much space under here to actually put the camera in here and show you how to pull them out. But again, hook the tab and just pull straight down, and you may have to work all 3 of them at once. Just kind of keep working your way back and forth. So once you get those pulled down, basically this pulls down, pull it down from the right hand side, pull it back to you, and then this covers out. All this is doing is making the inside of your vehicle look better, covers up the vent for your feet, and place to mount the light. Now to remove the light, basically I'm just going to push in on this tab here and pull out. Doing this one-handed, so. And that removes your floor pan, I guess, decorative cover. I don't know what you call this thing. I tried to look it up. There's no name that I could find on it, but basically that's what holds your light in place. So if you're replacing the OEM light, you would push this tab and pop the square out. I'm going to leave the square in place because I'm going to reuse a different type of light. On the back of this, you can see there's actually a well here. There's a screw hole here and another hole here for a wire. Now I tried to look online. I'm assuming this probably fits in Dodge products, maybe a Ram, maybe a Challenger, maybe a Charger. It's probably the same pin that fits on multiple vehicles. Some of these other vehicles uses a round light. I did find one other YouTube video that actually had this round light they were putting in, but they didn't look like they were very bright. So when I got one of these rock lights, I'll show you, it fits in here almost perfectly. So I'm going to go ahead and put the rock light in because the rock lights are super bright. All right, pop this up on the seat so it's a little bit easier to see. Again, if you want to remove the OEM one, there's a little tab here. You push on that, and the OEM light pops right out. Now, I've seen a couple people go online, and you can actually get in here and change the light bulbs on them. It's not enough light for me, so I'm just going to leave it in there so I don't have a hole in my cover. And I'm just not going to hook it up. Realistically, you could probably hook up the same wires and run both lights at the same time, but again, not sure why you'd want to do that. But you could. So this is the rock light out of the package. It comes with a couple bolts, a couple nuts, and an adapter if you need to bring it down or mount it to something different. I took this and just to fit it in place, if I pull my wire out, again, these little tabs inside of here just pop out. So I'm going to pop that out, pop out the little screw hole, so I'm going to put my light wire through the hole, the big hole. Try to keep my hands out of the way here. Pull that down. And I mean, it's not perfect, but it's pretty darn close to fitting right in there. And I'm just going to use 1 bolt instead of 2 bolts. I'm going to run the bolt in through there and tighten it up. Now, it's not going to fit in there perfectly flush. If you want to flush it out, you could probably take a couple washers, a little spacer. Matter of fact, I've got a couple little TV spacers. I'll probably stick a spacer in there so it's flush. And that'll leave a little gap behind it. These don't get really hot. They're LED lights. But it'll give it a little space just to get a little air into it. So I've got a couple bushings here. These are from TV mounts. One of my things I do with my job is install TVs. So I save all the inserts, bushings, well not all of them, but a bunch of them. So again, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this up underneath the light. So when I put it up in there, it's basically going to sit in here just to take up some space, so it flushes it out a little bit better. So to grab one more thing, I grabbed a flat washer for the back because I don't want to smash my cardboard in. My nut would just dig into the back of it and probably pull through. This will help keep it from pulling through. We're not going to make it super tight, but we need to make it tight enough it doesn't fall out. So to put this in here, it's going to be a little awkward, especially trying to keep my hands off the camera. Drop my bolt in first, slide my washer up on. My wire comes out on one side on this. I'm actually going to flip it around. So I'm going to put my bolt in, so my wire's on the whole side where I'm running it through. My bolt's going to go on the opposite side. I'll slide that through, and then I'm basically just going to try to feed it through the back here and line up the hole without dropping my little plastic washer off there. So I've got that. Once I get that in, I'm going to hold this in place. Try not to get in the camera way. This will definitely be easier if you're not trying to stay out of a camera and put it together at the same time. Put my little washer on there to keep from pulling through. Start my nut. Well, this is a 10mm nut and a 5mm Allen. So if you need to grab those ahead of time, you'll have that. And like I said, once I get it started on there, this won't have to be super tight because it's just going to sit up in there. We just need it tight enough it won't vibrate out of place. And again, I'm going to try to stay out of the camera angle here, but basically I'm just tightening up a bolt, so I'm not sure how much of that you need to see. And again, I don't want to crush in my my part, so I just snugged it up a little bit. Light's not going to go where, not going to fall out, not going to do anything. And once it's up under there, you'll never see it. So the next thing I noticed on here is it took me a little bit to try to figure out what the difference is. I noticed this has 2 lights on it. Now, somebody out there may tell me, if you know what it is in the comments, please leave it below. This has 2 lights in it. Both the lights come on when you open the door. Both the lights come on when you just roll up the dome light or the accessory lights. Both the lights go off when the door times out. So I'm not sure why they put 2 lights up in here. Again, I'm sure somebody out there can tell me. If you know, please let me know, because I can't figure out for the life of me why they would put 2 lights in there, not just one. I checked the voltage on the output, and I'll show you in just a second when I go to hook it up. They both have 12 volts output. They both go off when the door closes. So when I get down there, I'll show you can use either wire you want to off the harness. So here at your wiring harness, there's 3 wires coming in. And this is what I was just telling you. The black wire is your ground wire. The other 2 are both 12 volt while the door is open. When you leave the door open, they time themselves out. They both go off like they're supposed to. When you open the door, the light comes on both wires. Both of them have 12 volts. So again, not sure what the second light bulb was for, but they both appear to run the same light bulb, or the 2 light bulbs that are in there. So I need to peel this jacket back a little bit so I can tap one of these wires. You can cut them if you want. I don't like cutting my harnesses if I don't have to. I've definitely done it in the past, but if I can tap off of it, I'd rather tap it. So I'm not going to make you watch me peel this back. You can take a knife and score it. You just have to be careful not to cut your wires. After peeling back my wire here, move the camera a little bit, I exposed the wires. I'm just using these tap blocks to put on the wires. On the other side, I've put a quick connector. Since my new light doesn't have a connector on it, like a harness, if I want to take this panel back off, I just want to be able to unplug it and not have to unbolt it or cut the wires and resplice it again. If you haven't used these before, you can get these at AutoZone, Napa, anywhere like that. You can probably even get them at Walmart. I know Lowe's has them also. Basically, this one side slides over top of the wire, and then you take the wire you want to tap in. I'm going to try to do this on the camera without getting in the way. I might actually crimp it without taping it, but I'm going to try to. And basically you stick your other wire in the side hole. It only goes in so far and it stops. Now once you squeeze this little clamp down here, basically those little teeth will dig into the wire and it cuts into the wire and splices it, so you don't have to strip the wire or anything. You just put it in, So I'm going to use this pair of pliers, squeeze the middle connector evenly, and my wire will be spliced. So I'm just tightening that up a little bit with my thumb. That way I know it's on the wire, because you can actually slide out the other side if you're not careful. You know, I'll try to do this without getting in the camera way, but I'm just going to take a pair of pliers, in this case a pair of vice grips or channel locks. Again, I want to squeeze that connector evenly. As it goes down, it'll pierce into the wires. So that's flat, and this little cover just pops on the top of it. Keep it from arcing out. So I've got my ground and my hot tapped in. I'm going to get a voltmeter. I'm going to check it just to make sure I've got voltage, in case, you know, these things are not, you know, 1000% precise. Are pretty good, but just to make sure I've got a good connection on both sides. If you want to use a butt splice, or if you just want to wire nut them, tape them, you can tap into those however you want to. I'm not sure if you can see the voltmeter or not, but right now it's at 0 volts. I'm just going to open the back door. As soon as I open the back door, my voltage jumps up to 12.24. So I'm keyed on, so my key on works, so I know my hot and my ground are good, so I can go ahead and hook my light up, pop my panel back up in there. Hopefully the camera's not too close and you can actually see what I'm doing here, but again, I'm just going to plug these in, put my black to my black, my red to my red. It's a lot easier when you're not trying to stay out of the way. So that being that easy, I'm just take my wire. Now again, you could plug in that one if you want the white light on too, but I'm not going to put the white light on, so I'm not going to plug it in. Make sure when you put this up here, you don't block your vent hole, because your heater vent's right there. So I'm going to push my wires back to the right. I'm just going to slide that up in the hole. Make sure you don't pinch it up against the corner. Again, I'm not sure how much of this you can see, but basically we're just going to pop it back up in there and push our tabs back up in place. And again, I'm going to have to get this camera out of my way so I can actually push those up in. But as you can see where that one's stuck, basically push all three of them up in, and that'll hold it back in place. So once you get that pop back up in there, mine's still hanging down a little bit right here. I don't know if it's going to go back up in there. There's actually another tab hole right there from the factory, so I don't know if it just didn't get punched in, if they decided they were going to cut back on some parts and leave a couple tabs out. But looks like you could pop one more tab in there, and there's actually a spot right here for one more tab. But again, it's up under there, no one's ever going to see it. So now with the light off, and I pop the door open, as you can see, a whole lot brighter than it was before. Extremely bright, and again, I know the truck's blue. I'm ordering blue lights. I could leave the red one in there, probably wouldn't look too bad, but red's what I had left over. So that's this side done. We'll go to this other side next. The other side's a whole lot easier. You don't have to take the panel off or anything. You can just reach up and grab the wire, pull it down. We just need to find a place to mount the light. So this is the driver's side. Again, this one's a little bit easier to actually do, but I'll show you where the wiring harness is. If I can get that camera up in there. No, I'm just guessing. I cannot see what I'm doing here because I got the camera facing at my face with the light in it. The wiring harness for this one is right here. I'm just going to feel for it. I'm going to push down on the tab and pull the wire out. So that gets my wire down. I'm going to do the same thing. This wiring harness is not very long. If you wanted to, you could pull this front plate off. There's only a screw here and a screw here. Well, you can't see it from there. All right, if you need a little more space in the front here, basically take the screw out. All right, so I'm going to remove this screw here. This is a 7mm, by the way. put the screw over here. Gently down on here. And I've got a pop tab right here. And a pop tab somewhere up here. So I'm just pulling straight out on these, like so. Alright, and that gives me full access now to this harness, which I'm going to tap into. That's my existing light there. Alright, so you can see I did the same thing on this side. I tapped the yellow wire, tapped the black wire, checked my voltage, put me a couple connectors on there, a couple connectors on the pod light. Again, yes, red. I'm going to apply some blue ones. I'm going to connect these. I'm actually going to use this hole right here. So get the wire out of the way. So it's right on the back side of the factory light. There's another hole. I can get the harness out of the way. I hold the camera with one hand. Right there. I'm just going to run the bolt through that and mount it right to that. That should be up out of my way. It'll be out of the way of my hood release. And it'll also be out of the way of my ECU. So I'm just going to mount it to right there. Flip it back on there. And again, when I get the blue lights, you know, I'll show you how to do the blue lights, or basically just swap them out. So there's my light mounted. Again, I just ran the one bolt through it. Once I flip it up in there, just got to make sure you don't hit your fuse box back there when you flip it down or flip it up in. So I'm going to flip it back up in place. I'm going to plug my wires in, flip it back up in place. When you put these in, make sure you line these up properly. If you've taken this off before, if it's an older vehicle, sometimes these break. So you can get these at AutoZone, Napa, Advance Auto. So if you pop one or break one, one's probably not going to matter. You can probably flip them around to different spots so it holds it in place. If you break 3 or 4 of them, you're going to have to go to the store and buy you a few new tabs. So I've got my wires tapped in. As you can see, sorry I lost my light. It kind of died on me there. Let's see if I can get it on for a few seconds. Might be long enough to see. I've got my one bolt here, hold my light in. When you pull this out, sometimes you break these little plastic tabs. You might have to go to Napa, AutoZone, or somewhere and get a few new tabs. These can be picked up pretty easily. I'm going to fold this back up in. I'm going to snap my tabs back in, put my 2 screws in, and then I'll show you what it looks like. So with my panel reinstalled, just checked up under there, made sure my light was clear of everything. It's not going to catch anything. I'm not near the ECU. And again, I just left the old one unplugged, plugged in the new light. So once I turn on the door, once I open the door, we have nice bright LED lights. So that's passenger side, driver side. I may end up putting something up here just to light up the console a little bit. Definitely got to find something that's not as bright. Again, these are super bright lights. You can use an LED strip, you can use a multicolor strip. No matter what you do, you're still going to tap off the same 2 wires. So at least that shows you where to get power from for the lights. So one more look, pitch black in here now. And that's the lighting we're getting now. So I will show you how to change out the dome lights on here on a different video. I'm going to leave mine white. I'll probably put a brighter light in there. I use this for a work vehicle, so I need to be able to see early in the morning, sometimes dark outside. I need to be able to see when I'm writing or reading papers or documents. But just for accent lighting, if you're just going to do your entire truck or vehicle like that, I'll show you how to get the dome lights out later on.